Hi, I'm Mike Morales in San Antonio, and you are watching a special edition of Sipping Off the Cuff. And with me tonight is Rick Levy. And Rick is actually Lisa's brother. Lisa, our COO, who is single-handedly responsible for putting us on the map. and, and Rick likes to help us out on occasion. Tonight, Rick, you're helping us with Selección ArteNOM, which we fell all over ourselves on the Blanco. And tonight we're going to be looking at one of my favorite gnomes, 1414. And again, this is the brainchild of Jake Lustig, who's the importer and originator of this line, where he went from certain distilleries, I think there's only 4 of them, and said, make me your smallest batch and I'll put it in a bottle and I'll bring it to the States. What do you? This is the Reposado now, right? This is the one that we're doing.
Yes.
And look how light. Look how light it is as far as Reposados go.
Yeah, it's a very pale straw color.
Now we've been hanging on to these until we've been able to find someone besides myself that could help us out with these tastings. And this one, of course, is from Feliciano Vivanco y Asociados, also known as Rancho Vivanco, and Gnome 1414. The reason that I love this distillery so much, Rick, is that it is one. Well, every line that comes out from this distillery, when they're fermenting the juice, no matter what brand is coming out of there, they ferment the juice using classical music. Now, I don't know, you look skeptical. I can tell you that I've been to this distillery. I'm in the middle of interviewing the Ingeniero Solis, who is answering my questions on specifics about what I call the Mozart method. Okay, technically he doesn't play Mozart so much as he plays Vivaldi.
Vivaldi, yes.
Vivaldi. Yeah, but the Mozart method, I like alliteration. So and Mozart kind of comes in. Funny, because the idea is that they use Baroque music. Mozart actually he's kind of like in between Baroque and classical. He's considered like the line, it's like he's between both types of music. But I like saying Mozart method, but what do I know? What can you tell me about this particular selection? Is there something special on the back of the label that we should know about, or?
Well, it is coming from Arandas.
And he does have the longitude and latitude as well.
Yes, that's there.
Wow.
And 1414, among tequila aficionados, there's a lot of brands that come out. If a tequila aficionado finds the number 1414 on the back of a bottle that they haven't heard of before, it's something they're willing to try right off the shelf.
It's got a very popular following. For those of you who maybe aren't familiar with some of the brands that come out of that distillery, Rick, show them the bottle you just showed me.
Oh,
yeah, that one. That was a crowd favorite, Muchote.
Muchote.
Woo! That we're gonna see if we can't get them on back on Sipping Off the Cuff. We've never actually done a Sipping Off the Cuff with Muchote, and that is one of our favorite brands that right now only comes in a Reposado. Some of the other brands that come out of that distillery, Nobleza, Grandovejo, Siembra Azul. Look at you, man! Pull out the library.
That's right. I went through the library.
That's good, and it really is.
If I'm not mistaken,
you have Nobleza Azul also, don't you?
I had
Nobleza. Mañana, yeah.
I finished the Nobleza, and I no longer have the bottle.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Nobleza, that's one of the few that use Gnome 1414, but Nobleza uses their own agave. The gal who's the brand owner, her parents, her father is an agave grower, so they use their own agave, but they distill at NOM 1414, and she is such a fan of the distillery that she has her own silo. She has her own tank at the distillery for her stuff. So she's there forever. She's never going to go. But anyway, take a look at the... I don't know if your lighting is better than mine, Rick, but as Rick said earlier, it's a pale straw color. This I believe they're using agave from their own estate, so it is really small batch. I mean, I think they only make this for Jake anyway. So
yeah, as we were saying with the Blanco, a lot of these juices that are featured in Jake's line are started out as just in-house works in progress.
So they weren't ever... Some of these were never even meant to be commercially used, right? These are like family reserves and things like that.
Exactly. It is the art of the nom, which is really a beautiful concept for a curated line.
Yeah, and I guess we should... Maybe I'm not giving Jake the proper accolades or the proper title, because I call him the importer and originator of the brand, but he really he's more of a, like you said, a curator, like a museum curator or an art curator. He's really responsible for bringing these works of art so that the public could enjoy them. I mean, that's really a beautiful way of thinking about it. And I really, it's been so long since I've been away from this brand, from this line, and I haven't communicated with Jake lately, that it never occurred to me that this is really something. I knew that there was a lot of care and something special about the line, but it never occurred to me to refer to it as him being the curator of a line, which is really completely, my head and my mind are in sales and and the marketing aspect of it, but he really is into the artistic part of it as well as a great businessman, obviously. So I like that that you brought that up, that he really curates this to bring it to us, to the public.
What a fantastic job to travel around to the different noms and just say, hit me with your best samples of your stuff that's never been on a shelf.
Well, and he's doing it with mezcal now too. I was fortunate that before I left New Mexico, that not only did I receive I received some of his mezcal, and I wish I could get more of it, because there was a lot of transition for me from New Mexico to California back to Texas. So, but in any case, we're so fortunate now that we have this one available. It says that the Vivanco family's been cultivating Highland agave in Aranda since Mexico's tumultuous post-revolutionary period of 1919 to 1929. So there's a lot of pedigree where this tequila is involved. Does it tell us anywhere, Rick? Does it say anywhere how long these are aged?
I don't have the point of sale materials on this.
It's not on the label either, is it?
No, it's not saying on the label.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that these are used barrels and for a very short amount of time. Maybe I wouldn't say longer than 8 months, if that.
Yeah, well, with the light color, it would lead you to think they would be in the barrel a smaller amount of time.
Yeah. And so basically what this is more of I would say, without having tasted it yet, just getting the aroma and the wood notes, that it's just enough to soften the agave, but not enough to mute it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now, are you getting some of the vanilla and caramel
Yeah,
from
I
the?
am a little bit. But I'm still getting some citrus notes as well. I'm not, that's
Definitely a
not
lot of fruit.
lost. Yeah. Now, I was told by David Suro long ago when I first visited this distillery that the secret to the Vivanco distillery is that it's surrounded, it's open air fermentation, by the way,
Oh,
but it is surrounded by fruit trees, orange trees, lemon trees, citrus. And he said, and he told me, he said, that is the secret to the Vivanco tequilas, is that it's surrounded by the citrus, because whatever's in the atmosphere will affect the final outcome, from fermentation to distillation and of course in the barrel.
absolutely. It affects the local ecology, the bacteria in the area, the yeasts that are going to be fermenting the tequila.
I'm not sure what they're using as far as yeast. I know that if that they're familiar or famous for using champagne yeast, so I'm going to say that that's what they're using, because that seems to be a trademark of Ingeniero Solis. Leopoldo Solis and Gabriel Espindola are the two partners that came up with the Mozart method technique. As a matter of fact, if you have any Don Pilar, that's another one that they use that technique on. And
Ah,
I know you have some
that's
Don
right.
Pilar. Yeah.
I do have Don Pilar.
They do that at another distillery, and Don Pilar is an agave grower, so obviously the flavor profile is going to be a little bit different. But the mechanics are the same, and those two guys watch over that tequila also. So
And I'm a big fan of the open air fermentation
yeah, yeah, me too.
because that is really going to it's going to be it's going to have a flavor profile very particular to where it is distilled because of the interaction with the environment from the open air fermentation.
There is, for those of you who follow Tequila Aficionado and watch our YouTube channel, there is a wonderful video that actually is actually on my YouTube channel, my own personal one, of Ron Cooper from Del Maguey, where he talks about how it's a famous video. I'm sure you can find it if you just Google it, where he talks about how every 1,000 meters the atmosphere, the stuff in the atmosphere, affects what goes into open air fermentation. And in his case, he was discussing, of course, mezcal. But it seems to be true, whenever you talk about open air fermentation, that it's every 1,000 meters, the microbes and everything in the atmosphere is a little bit different, and so depending on the elevation, the microclimate, you've got a lot of different variables, so it's not all the hand of the maker. It's not all distillation, but I think fermentation for me makes a big difference. Although I've spoken to some great master distillers, Carlos Camarena, who told us that distillation is what was his explanation? He said distillation is the meaning of life. Yeah, and I actually have him on video, so you can find that on Tequila Aficionado as well, and our YouTube channel. He was just amazing the way you hear these guys talk about, the distillers talk about their craft of distillation. So, wow.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
the
there's
wood
this
notes
really
are
art that goes into it at each level, the fermentation, the distillation.
the wood notes on this are not very prominent, though. You notice that they're not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It
it's more on the
softens up.
nose.
Yeah. It the pepper is a bit more pronounced.
I get more of the wood notes in the nose, but when I ingest it, when I take it in, it really you don't lose any of the characteristics of what the
Yeah.
Blanco would you would think the Blanco would taste like.
There's I'm detecting like a little bit of a I don't know. I almost want to say a slightly buttery undertone.
And that would be, you would attribute that to the wood?
I'd attribute that to the wood. How you typically get these sort of vanilla or caramel kind of notes from, particularly from used barrels.
Okay. And again, would this be something that you would use in a cocktail, or again, would you just sip this baby and it's really different if you've had enough from the 1414, distillery. It really is different. It's not. I don't have a bar for this, and I've had several from that distillery, and continue to get them. But I don't.
Yeah.
This is
well, without a doubt, this could make a beautiful cocktail. But for my personal tastes, I would always want to sip this neat.
okay. All right. Wow. And again, like I say, not that Jake Lustig needs us at all, but I'm going to go out on a limb and again nominate the Selection ArteNOM 1414 for Brand of Promise in the legacy category. I think when it comes to legacy, the word legacy and what it stands for, I think this particular line really illustrates when we talk about legacy. It illustrates what legacy / pedigree really is.
Yeah, and well, 1414 really does bring a pedigree along with it. In this, in the Reposado incarnation of the Selection line.
That was beautiful. Very, very well done. Again, congratulations to Jake Lustig. Thank you so much for waiting, for your patience, Senor Lustig, for letting us play around and wait until Rick was up and ready to help us out with this. And look at the legs and tears on this, man.
It is beautiful. This is one of the first Reposados I really fell in love with. I actually wrote a review of this once, and it really did end up reading like a love letter. It is, it's a love letter to the craft and to Reposado in particular.
Hey, well, when you're ready, you can share that love letter with us. You send it to us at TA, and we'll make sure it goes up as a review by you, and then everybody in the tequila world can read the love letter to NOM 1414.
Yeah, this is just a really beautiful juice to spend an evening with.
Yes, I totally agree, and share it with a friend. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio.
Rick Levy in San Diego.
And you've been watching a special edition of Sipping Off the Cuff, where we just gave NOM 1414 Selection ArteNOM the legacy nomination. Thank you again for being with us. And as Alex likes to say,